All right, so are you ready for a deep dive that gets really personal and philosophical? You sent us some audio reflections, and wow, they're packed with wisdom. We're going to unpack all sorts of interesting ideas about respect and resilience and finding beauty, in everyday life.
Okay.
And a lot more. It's really amazing how these simple observations can lead to some really profound insights.
Yeah, what strikes me is how the speaker starts by talking about, hitting rock bottom. That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
And it really sets the stage, I think, for understanding their journey, of rebuilding and finding hope.
Right.
I'm curious to see how this idea of starting from a place of darkness connects to some of the other themes, that we'll be exploring.
Yeah, that rock bottom statement definitely grabbed my attention, too. It makes me think about those moments in life where we feel like there's nowhere to go but up.
Right.
And what's interesting is that instead of dwelling on the negativity, the speaker uses this experience as a springboard for growth. They talk about this idea of there's nowhere to go but up.
Okay.
Almost like a challenge.
Yeah.
A way to reframe adversity into an opportunity.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of being consumed by the darkness,
right,
they're choosing to see it as a turning point, a chance to rebuild and create something new.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold, highlighting the cracks as part of the object's beauty and history.
Wow. That's a beautiful analogy. So instead of trying to erase or hide the difficult experiences, they're embracing them as part of their journey.
Yeah.
It's like those experiences, even the painful ones,
Yeah.
have become a source of strength and wisdom.
Exactly. And as we delve into these reflections, I'm eager to see how this theme of resilience plays out in different aspects of the speaker's life, from their personal values to their experiences in the workplace and beyond.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things that struck me was their unique perspective on respect.
Okay.
Specifically respecting floors. I mean, I never thought I'd be discussing the philosophy of taking off your shoes on a podcast, but it's actually quite fascinating.
It might seem like a mundane detail.
Yeah.
But it reveals a lot about the speaker's values and their approach to interpersonal relationships. They talk about it not just as a matter of cleanliness, but as a sign of respecting someone's space and boundaries.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that they don't always strictly enforce this rule.
Okay.
Especially with one-time visitors. They talk about choosing harmony over potential confrontation. Which makes me wonder, is there ever a time when it's important to stand your ground even if it risks disrupting that harmony?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It highlights the complexity of navigating cultural differences and the delicate balance between adhering to personal principles and adapting to social situations.
Right.
Sometimes preserving a relationship or maintaining a peaceful atmosphere might require a bit of flexibility, even if it means bending our own rules slightly.
It makes me think about how we navigate boundaries in online communities, too. It's easy to get caught up in debates and disagreements, but sometimes choosing to disengage or simply agree to disagree can be a way of respecting different perspectives and preventing a situation from escalating.
That's a great connection. It's about recognizing that respect can manifest in different ways, depending on the context.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about active listening and engaging in thoughtful dialogue.
Right.
Other times it might mean stepping back, creating space for diverse viewpoints, and prioritizing a sense of community over winning an argument.
So whether it's taking off your shoes at someone's home or choosing your battles online, it's all about being mindful of the impact our actions have on others and finding ways to show respect even in the smallest of gestures.
And I think this idea of respect ties back to the speaker's experience of hitting rock bottom, because rebuilding from that point requires a deep level of self-respect.
Right.
Acknowledging your own worth and committing to creating a better future for yourself.
That's a really insightful connection. It's like respecting yourself is the foundation for respecting others and building healthier relationships.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about another theme that the speaker touches on.
Okay.
Resilience.
Yes, and their approach to dealing with tough times is quite multifaceted.
Okay.
They talk about reminding themselves that this too shall pass.
Right.
Actively seeking solutions and even finding healthy distractions to gain perspective. It's not just about toughing it out, but about using different strategies to cope and move forward.
That made me think it's almost like they're building a toolbox of resilience with different tools for different situations. And I love how they frame distraction as a positive tool. a way to create space for emotional recovery.
Absolutely. It challenges the idea that we always need to confront our problems head on. Sometimes allowing ourselves to step back, engage in activities that bring us joy, or simply shift our focus can be incredibly restorative.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that self-care is an essential part of resilience.
And they even talk about doubling down on positive actions as a way to celebrate resilience. Almost like proof that you're moving forward. Instead of dwelling on the negative, they're choosing to focus on the things they can control, which is a really empowering approach.
It's about taking ownership of your narrative and actively shaping your experience. By consciously choosing positive actions, you're reinforcing a sense of agency and reminding yourself that you have the power to influence your own well-being. However, I do wonder if there's a potential downside to this.
Okay.
Could focusing solely on the positive sometimes mask deeper issues that need to be addressed?
That's a really good point. It's like, is there a risk of toxic positivity? Where we're so focused on being positive that we avoid dealing with difficult emotions or situations.
Right.
Maybe it's about finding a balance, acknowledging the challenges, processing the difficult emotions, and also taking concrete steps to move forward in a positive direction.
Exactly. It's about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, both the light and the shadow. Resilience isn't about ignoring the negative, but about navigating it in a healthy way, learning from our challenges, and ultimately emerging stronger on the other side.
So we've got respect, resilience, and this overarching theme of starting from rock bottom and building back up. I'm really curious to see what other insights we uncover as we continue exploring these reflections.
Me too. It's already clear that the speaker has a unique perspective on life, and I'm eager to delve deeper into their thoughts on community storytelling and finding meaning in the everyday. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll continue our deep dive into these fascinating reflections.
Welcome back to our deep dive, into these personal reflections. We've already uncovered some really thought-provoking ideas about respect and resilience, especially in the context of starting from rock bottom and building back up.
Yeah, and speaking of building back up, one thing that really stood out to me was the speaker's emphasis on community. They seem to find a lot of strength and inspiration in shared goals and collaborative achievements, especially when working with people who bring diverse skills to the table.
This echoes, I think, a fundamental human need for belonging and connection. We're social creatures by nature, and we thrive when we feel part of something larger than ourselves. Community provides a sense of purpose and support and shared identity, which can be incredibly empowering, especially when facing challenges.
And it's not just about feeling good. The speaker specifically mentions how diverse skill sets can lead to better outcomes. Which makes me think about the power of collaboration in problem solving and innovation.
Absolutely.
When we bring together people with different perspectives and backgrounds and expertise, we create a synergy that allows us to approach challenges from multiple angles. We challenge each other's assumptions, learn from each other's strengths, and ultimately arrive at solutions that we wouldn't have been able to achieve individually.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly.
But the speaker also acknowledges that building and maintaining a strong community isn't always easy.
They talk about the challenges of uniting people, which reminds us that community requires effort, intentionality, and a willingness to navigate disagreements and differences. It's about finding common ground, fostering open communication, and recognizing that even within a shared goal, there will be diverse perspectives and opinions.
This makes me think about how the speaker approaches conflict. They talk about choosing harmony over confrontation in certain situations, but they also emphasize the importance of clear communication when working towards a shared goal. It seems like finding that balance between collaboration and healthy disagreement is key.
It's about recognizing that conflict isn't inherently negative. In fact, it can be a catalyst for growth and innovation if approached constructively. The key is to create a space where people feel safe to express their opinions, where disagreements are seen as opportunities for learning and problem solving, and where the focus remains on achieving the shared goal. However, this does make me wonder. The speaker talks about their experience in a gaming development company where collaboration was key.
Yeah.
But are there situations where individual brilliance or a singular vision is more important than consensus?
That's a really interesting question. It makes me think about artists, entrepreneurs, and other innovators who often have to go against the grain to bring their unique vision to life. Maybe it's about recognizing that different contexts call for different approaches.
Perhaps it's about finding the right balance for each situation. Sometimes a collaborative approach is essential for achieving a shared goal.
Right.
Other times, a strong individual vision can be the driving force behind groundbreaking innovation.
And maybe it's also about recognizing the value of both individual and collective contributions. Even within a collaborative environment, each person brings their unique talents and perspectives to the table.
Right.
And acknowledging those individual strengths can enhance the overall outcome.
Speaking of individual contributions and diverse perspectives, the speaker also talks about the power of storytelling as a way to transmit values and engage younger generations. This reminds me of how they talked about the importance of symbols in communication, specifically referencing the peace sign.
Right.
It seems like they have a real appreciation for the ways we use symbols and narratives to share ideas and connect with each other.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that they see storytelling as an alternative to preaching, which implies that they value a more subtle and engaging approach to conveying important messages.
This highlights the power of narratives to connect with people on an emotional level. Stories have the ability to transport us to different worlds, to make us feel empathy for characters, and to internalize lessons in a way that feels more organic and less didactic than a traditional lecture.
It's like the difference between telling someone something and showing them. A well-crafted story can make a concept come alive, making it more memorable and relatable.
Exactly. And this connects to the speaker's appreciation for symbols. They see symbols as efficient tools for communication and self-expression, which is evident in their use of the peace sign example. It's fascinating how a simple symbol can evoke a complex range of emotions, ideas, and historical associations.
But they also acknowledge the potential for symbols to be misinterpreted, especially in today's digital landscape where context can easily be lost or manipulated. This makes me think about the evolution of language and how the meaning of words and symbols can shift over time, especially online.
This raises important questions about how we navigate communication in a world where information spreads so rapidly and where nuances can easily be lost in translation. It highlights the need for critical thinking, media literacy, and an awareness of the cultural context that shape our understanding of symbols and language.
It's almost like we need to develop a new set of skills for deciphering meaning in the digital age. And maybe part of that involves being more intentional about the symbols and stories we choose to share, recognizing their power to influence and connect.
That's a great point. As we become more aware of the power of symbols and narratives, we also become more responsible for using them thoughtfully and ethically. It's about recognizing that communication is a two-way street, where both the sender and receiver play a role in shaping meaning and understanding.
So from respecting floors to embracing community to finding meaning in symbols and stories, it seems like the speaker is constantly seeking ways to connect with others and make sense of the world around them.
And this brings us back to their experience of hitting rock bottom and their determination to build back up. It seems like this journey of rebuilding isn't just about personal growth, but about finding ways to connect with others, to contribute to something larger than themselves, and to find meaning and purpose in the midst of life's complexities.
And we're just getting started. There's still so much more to explore in these reflections, from the speaker's thoughts on finding beauty in the everyday to their perspective on balancing tradition and change. Join us for part 3, where we'll continue our deep dive and uncover even more insights. Welcome back to, the final part of our deep dive into these insightful reflections. We've already covered so much ground, from the power of community and storytelling to the importance of respect and resilience.
Yeah, and I think it's remarkable how these seemingly disparate themes all connect back to the speaker's journey of starting from rock bottom and building back up. It's like each of these ideas represents a different tool or strategy for navigating life's challenges and finding meaning in the midst of it all.
Speaking of finding meaning, one thing that really struck me was the speaker's appreciation for the simple beauty of ocean waves.
Okay.
They describe this experience as almost hypnotic,
Hmm.
a way to find peace and a reminder that life, could be so simple.
It's a beautiful example of finding mindfulness in the everyday.
Right.
In a world that's often chaotic and overwhelming,
Yeah.
the speaker finds solace in the rhythmic ebb and flow of the waves, a reminder of the natural world's grandeur and the power of simply being present in the moment.
This resonates with me because I've often found that nature has a way of putting things in perspective.
Uh-huh.
It's like those moments when you're surrounded by the vastness of the ocean or
Yeah.
the stillness of a forest,
Yeah.
and your worries suddenly feel so small and insignificant.
It's a reminder that there's a bigger picture,
Mm.
a natural rhythm to life that transcends our individual struggles.
Right.
And I think this connects back to the speaker's resilience.
Yeah.
Because finding that sense of peace and perspective, whether it's through nature or other forms of mindfulness, can be incredibly grounding when facing difficult times.
It's like finding that stillness within yourself can help you weather the storms of life. And it makes me think about another theme that the speaker touches on, balancing tradition and change.
Okay.
They seem to have a very pragmatic approach to traditions,
Right.
emphasizing personal choice and the evolution of customs over time.
This highlights the tension between honoring the past and embracing the present, recognizing that traditions are not static. Right.
But rather living entities that evolve alongside society.
Yeah.
The speaker seems to advocate for a more nuanced understanding of tradition, one that acknowledges the importance of personal meaning and adaptation.
I appreciate how they emphasize personal choice, suggesting that if a tradition doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to participate.
Right.
It's like giving people permission to question, to adapt, and to create new meanings for themselves.
It challenges the notion that traditions are immutable and suggests that individuals have the agency to choose which customs they uphold and how they integrate them into their modern lives.
Right.
This reminds me of how the speaker talked about finding their own light even when things felt dark. They were determined to create their own path, even if it meant deviating from established norms.
It's like they're saying that we have the power to shape our own experiences, to create our own meaning, and to find our own light, even when surrounded by darkness. And this brings us back to the speaker's powerful closing statement about hitting rock bottom, and the belief that there's nowhere to go but up. It's a statement of resilience, of hope, and of the transformative potential of even our most challenging experiences.
It's a reminder that even when we feel lost and broken, there's always the possibility of renewal, of growth, and of finding a new direction. And sometimes those rock bottom moments can become the catalyst for the most profound personal transformations.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this question for you to ponder.
Okay.
How can embracing the idea that there's nowhere to go but up empower us to find resilience and even opportunity in our own challenging situations?
A powerful question to consider. And I think the insights we've gleaned from these reflections provide a roadmap for navigating those moments with grace, resilience, and a sense of hope. Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep diving deep.